Hey there, you guys. Excuse the glasses. I could not get my left contact to cooperate with me for the life of me. But today there's just a few things I want to get done in the garden. I want to train my climbing roses because I've neglected them. They've gotten very tall. We've had several rainstorms and I've been afraid that they're going to break if I don't start to train them. I also feel like it's just that time. I'll explain why when I show you them. I also have some hardy geraniums that I planted from bare root that I got on clearance about 3 weeks ago, I think, 4 weeks ago now. And they've been growing on in my little grow room downstairs in the basement. And so now I really want to plant them out. And these are all the things I'll be using today to get these projects done. I'm going to start just putting stuff in a basket just like this every time I go around and do a project because it's so nice to just have everything right there with me. I never create a kit or anything when I'm walking around in the garden, and I definitely should. Anyways, for rose pruning and training, I have my rose gloves. I have isopropyl alcohol and some pruners. You definitely want to sanitize your pruners with something like isopropyl alcohol every single time you move from one plant to another, in particular with roses. So I also have a napkin to be able to wipe off my pruners. I have a hammer and some cable clips, which is what I'll be using to attach my rose canes to buildings and wherever they're going to be attached to. And then the last thing is I have my few hardy geraniums, just a couple of small leaves, but I definitely want to go ahead and get these in the ground because I don't want to have to look after them all winter long. And those hardy geraniums were like a variety pack, and I don't know what color they are, so it's gonna be interesting. Let's start with the roses because I feel like that's gonna take the longest. And this right here is what I'm talking about. This is my Eden climbing rose. And as you can see, she has been disrespected, neglected, but she's growing great. Those are some really thick canes down there, which is really impressive because this is only its second year in the ground. And I planted this only from a gallon-sized plant, I think. So now I need to select what canes I want to keep, what canes I want to get rid of, and how I want to train this. I'd say you never want to let your roses get like this because I think one more rainstorm and some of these canes would have started breaking, and that would have been a tragedy because it takes a while for you to get some really thick, nice rose canes for a climbing rose. And once you start to get them, you really want to treat them well because that's going to be the infrastructure for your rose for years to come. All right, so let's start with training. Basically, I want to train this rose to go around the corner on this right side of the building and all around the left side of this building. I really want it to fill up a lot of this wall. I'll probably take some cuttings of this rose and propagate it so that maybe I can add an additional plant on this other side. But basically, I want to get it to where a lot of these canes are going horizontal and not vertical. And the reason for that is if you train your main canes to go horizontally, it will shoot up canes vertically from that, and that will give you exponentially more roses. And you can kind of already see my rose is already doing that. So there's this cane right here that is crossing over to this way. But if you can see off of that rose, I already have a cane growing upward right there. I have some new growth right there. And then there's new growth at the end of the cane as well. If I just train this, more buds will be activated along this stem and I will get more vertical growth, which will give me way more flowers. If you let your rose just grow vertically, you'll get roses at the top of the plant, but you won't get any roses at the bottom of the plant. So it's really important that if you want maximum amount of roses on your climbing roses, that you train them horizontally, and that's going to give you the best effect. You can grow them vertically, and there may be times where you have to grow them vertically for a bit of time. For example, over here, I have 2 climbing roses flanking this doorway. These are going to have to grow vertically for a bit of time before I can train them horizontally, and that's okay. So you kind of just have to do what's best for your design, but ultimately you want to end up with a horizontal cane. Okay, so let's analyze what's going on with my rose. It looks like I have 2 big main canes. One of the large main canes shoots off into 3 big stems. So it seems like I need to keep, well, it seems like there are only 2 big stems. The one back there and the one right here in the front. This one off to the side is a little bit skinnier, so I'm probably gonna remove that one and keep those top 2. On this left side, it seems like this one splits off into 2. One of the growth points is very, very thin. So I'll probably just take that one for cuttings. And then this other one, it splits off into 2. And both of those look a decent size, so I'll probably keep both of those stems and train those horizontally. So it looks like we'll be pruning out this center piece, pruning out this bottom piece, and then training the rest horizontally. And my logic behind that is that you want to take out any of your thin canes. You don't want any thin canes when you're training a climbing rose. 2, you don't want any branches that are going to cross or clog up airflow in your rose. So I feel like that center branch really needs to go. Also that lower branch, I feel like it's just going to clog up the base of the rose where you want the most airflow to prevent disease or pest problems. And 3, that should give me 3 lateral canes that are horizontal for the right side of the building and 2 lateral horizontal canes for the left side of the building, which I think is a pretty good start for this rose. So I'm gonna save this center one for propagation. Perfect. Prune out this skinny bottom one, which I can also keep for propagation as well. Yep, that's a nice, healthy new shoot that I can probably cut up into 3 cuttings. I can't believe how relatively thornless this rose is. Like, I don't know if that's like an attribute of this rose or what, but super neat. Also, while we're at it, let's go ahead and take care of this sumac baby that's now growing in front of the climbing rose. I can't believe that I have another sumac growing. I just got rid of one earlier this season. It's one of my earliest videos on this channel, and now I have another one coming up. Ugh. That looks a lot better. Now you can actually see the rose climbing there. Now for this side. Oh, there's 3 branches here. Okay, I'm taking out another branch. Hold on. I didn't even realize this was forking in 3. Okay. No. We don't need this center one. I don't want this bottom one either. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be too low. So my camera overheated in the middle of that, but oh my gosh, this looks so much better. It looks like someone who actually is like trying to grow some climbing roses, not some like amateur. And it actually is so pretty, like climbing on the building like that. And it doesn't look so bushy. I love it. So for these 2 roses right here that I'm going to let climb up, and then eventually they're gonna be trained to this little top part right here, I am going to keep about 2 to maybe 3 strong canes, and that is it. All other growth will go because there's just no need, and I really want to give as much energy as I can to some main canes that will grow nice and tall as fast as possible so that I can get this to be an arch. And looking at this one over here, it truly looks like I have 1 stem that's really strong right here, 2 stems that are pretty strong, 3 stems that are really strong. This is weak. You see how spindly that is? We're gonna definitely cut that out. There's also one in the back right here. That one is super skinny. We're gonna cut that one out as well. So 2 cuttings of this rose. The one on the right side, there's literally just 2 nice canes, and then there's a bunch of small, tiny, skinny growth. So we will remove all of that. This rose right here, I can't do much to because I'm trying to grow it tall enough to where I can train it over the curve of this fence right here, but it's not tall enough yet. That branch is doing exactly what I want it to do already. I'll just pin it to the building. And then at the base, there is some skinny growth right here that I'll take out. Other than that though, this rose is doing perfect. There's another skinny branch right there. Yeah, there's a couple of skinny branches to take out. But other than that, I'm just gonna let it grow on. I also have this Kiss Me Kate climbing rose, which is just a little bit too small to start training, but there is a bit of skinny growth in the front that I'm gonna go ahead and prune out. And you guys can see the bloom. Isn't that beautiful? And they smell amazing. I can't even make this up. Look at the car. Oh, this teacher just does not get it. The whole street is empty, except for this one teacher. I don't know why she always parks here, but I'm gonna leave her a note today. And this right here is the last climbing rose. It is a yellow climbing rose, and I know it doesn't look like a climbing rose. It literally looks like a shrub. The website I purchased it from said that it could be grown as a shrub or a climbing rose, but you can see there's some really, really thick canes that are a lot longer and thicker than everything else. Those are the ones that you want to use for training purposes. So I'm gonna use this one right here, and this one coming off to the side. Everything else on this bush is going to be pruned back, which is going to be really, really drastic, but I don't want this to be a shrub rose. I want it to climb. It's supposed to bloom well on a north-facing wall, so I think that it'll look really pretty growing all the way up this wall. That's the hopes for it. Obviously, see how much thicker this stem is than something like this. That's what you definitely want to be training. It kind of hurts to take out so much growth from something like this, but I know it's for the best. Because this rose is so short, I really can't train it yet, so I'm just gonna leave them be. I may add a trellis to this if I see that the stems are kind of being knocked around a little bit. But for right now, I think this is good and looks a lot better. Now let's find spots for the hardy geraniums. Hardy geranium over here that does absolutely beautifully. Maybe I should put one down here as well to kind of dance with this hydrangea a little bit. I kind of love how they just tuck into shrubs and other plants. So I think that that would be really pretty there. I also think it could be pretty to just add another one over here. It could dance with this hellebore and hibiscus. And then we just have one final one. Maybe I'll put it in the front, right about here. And just kind of let the hardy geraniums do their own little thing. If I don't like the color of them, I can always move them. But it'll be a nice spot for them just to try it out. I've also not tried them out in this much shade before, so I'll be interested to see how they do, because they do say that they can take full shade, part shade, or full sun. Or at least that's what my tag said. Let's not kill it before I even get it in the ground. Put a tag there too, just so I don't forget it, because I will forget it. The way I've been planting lately. And that's everything. I'm gonna go gather all my rose cuttings. I'll put them in jars of water, and they should root within a month. You won't have 100% success at all. It'll probably be about 50% from my experience, but at least I'll have some propagations where I can kind of bulk up those displays. It's not like I'm gonna be planting them in different areas probably. They're just gonna go in the same place just to give me a little bit of an extra boost. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys around for whatever video I come up with for next time. It is kind of nice hearing the kids scream on the playground a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Bye guys. And I'll probably have more climbing roses than I even know what to do with by next spring.